What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Nintendo Land, and Nintendo is continuing their news this week as they just had all their previews pretty much come out for Yoshi and the Mysterious Book. Now, they didn't really reveal any new trailer or overview trailer or anything like that, which I thought was a little strange, but they did, however, let pretty much publications come out and drop their opinions on the game. And overall, from what I've read and from what I've seen so far, everybody seems to be around the same page. Pun intended, sure. But yeah, the game is easy, definitely marketed and targeted for children, but at the same time, seems to be something super unique and something we have not seen so far from Nintendo. Today, I have 3 reviews that kind of go over some similar topics, but I'm going to go through the things that they mentioned. The video that you're watching throughout the entire course of this video is going to be from IGN. If you want to check out their full video they posted, check it out on the IGN official YouTube channel. But let's drop into Yoshi and the Mysterious Book and talk about what this game has to offer. So, starting off with Nintendo Life. They came out and said that this game is way deeper, and it's not just a game for children, but also a game that adults could enjoy as well. Nintendo Life states that Yoshi's moveset is still pretty much unchanged. He still has his signature flutter jump, and he still has his ground pound. He can still eat enemies and throw eggs, but this time he can use a new tail whip in order to put enemies on his back. He can just pretty much pop them on his back or swap them out for other enemies or choose to eat them if he wants. Now, enemies cannot deal damage here, so they're kind of just creatures that are there to work with him. I'll talk about the damage thing in a bit, but Nintendo Life says there's so many creatures, and literally just the first world they saw like 5 or 6 different creatures that all had different abilities and stuff that could work with Yoshi. The creatures work differently also in each world in each setting, so you might come across that frog that blows different bubbles. Well, one world you'll come across the frog again, but this time that world has mud, and you can blow mud bubbles, I guess. And then there's one world with apples that you can blow giant apple juice bubbles. And one world might be snow themed and the bubbles will turn into ice. It's just different stuff like that where all the enemies have different effects based on the levels that you're in, so there's so many different combinations that you'll experience. They state that each level seems really, really big, and it's one big goal that you have to achieve, which has you looking all the way throughout the stage and finding secrets and collectibles. It's a lot bigger than you think. It's not just busting your way to the end of a smaller level like a 2D Mario game. Of course, you can name creatures at the end of completing levels. We already knew about this, but they just said it's a fun little thing. Of course, the internet's going to have fun with that one. But this game has good discovery and reasons to go back and find hidden things that can be kind of tricky to find. There's some really tricky extra things that you can find, and they're so tricky, in fact, there's like a system in place where you can spend coins in order to get those secrets, and I'll talk about that in another review. The game looks absolutely gorgeous. I know the video I'm showing you right now isn't doing it quite justice. IGN uploaded their video in like 30 FPS, but I'm telling you right now, from the clips and stuff that I've seen, specifically from Nintendo Life, I'll show you a quick clip that they showed. The game looks and runs beautifully. It looks buttery smooth. The graphics are beautiful, man. I just love the way this game looks. It is just a beautiful looking game. Nintendo finishes off by stating that you can choose any color Yoshi to enter a stage with, and also that the game is only single player. They haven't seen anything that even remotely teased there being a multiplayer, and even on the website it states that it's a single player game, which I can see some people having issues with after games like Woolly World and Crafted World had already had multiplayer. This might be a sting for some people. Personally, I love playing these games alone, so it doesn't matter to me whatsoever. We then move on to GVG's preview, or Good Vibes Gaming, and they state that the game is about exploration with platforming elements, but exploration first, because there's no power-ups, there's no damage or lives, but they ended up enjoying this more than they thought they would, because it's just about relaxed gaming and solving puzzles and exploring the world. You don't necessarily need lives, they claim, that they didn't really find it to be much of a negative that they thought it was going to be, which is good to hear. But yeah, there is no way to take damage. You cannot die or cannot get hurt at all in this game, and once again, this is something we have seen from various Yoshi games of recent years. This is not about racing to the end like a 2D Mario game, like I stated before. It's a game where taking your time and exploring is key. You want to look at every nook and cranny in the level, going up vertically, going as far left or right in the book as you can. Just exploring everything and trying out all the things that you can with the characters. Every character has some sort of new effect with different levels. I've kind of already touched on this before, but it's just still so cool to think of all the different effects and things you'll be able to do. It reminds me of Kirby and capture abilities. Like, you might pick up a Shy Guy and he'll say, hey, I need you to take me to a certain house, or I need you to, do this for me, or I need you to take me over here. Or you might pick up a character that has a specific element to them, like I said, with the bubble frogs and stuff. But there is more experimenting in puzzle solving than there is platforming, it sounds like, in this game. At the end of each level, it tells you everything that you got, and it also tells you one thing that you missed each time, which is a cool way to get you to say, let me jump back into that level again, or I need to revisit this later on to see if I can find that missing thing. That's pretty cool. But you can also buy hints for things that you're missing in this game with the coins. You can either spend a little bit of coins for a hint, or you can spend tons of coins for them to just flat out tell you what you're missing, and you can just jump in and go find that. Also, Bowser Jr. and Kamek have a boss fight in this game, which we'll touch on a little bit more in a second. And last but not least, we have Gamespot with their review, and they start off by saying each level is chosen by choosing a specific habitat and jumping into that level. So it's not like you're choosing a level. You're using a magnifying glass to find something interesting on each page, and then you can jump into that world's habitat. I'm assuming the world is just all interconnected, meaning you can go to different areas once you enter the stage, but you can choose where to enter it and what section of the stage and what habitat to make things easier if you want to jump out, jump back into a specific area and warp around that giant level. So that's pretty cool. It's really different. It's a different approach to level design. But stages, once again, don't have finish lines. They have ends of the stage, though, where it's visible, where you'll see, oh, you reached the end of the book. You know, the colors will start to dull, and it'll kind of show you like you reached the end. Think of Yoshi's story. This game is very much based and built around that kind of concept of you're supposed to explore the stage, collect the things. There's no real goal or end of stage. There's a goal for you to complete, but it's not about getting to the end of the stage, going as far right as you can, which is pretty cool. It's a different approach to this. Stages are simple, but packed full of things to do, like we've already said. There's an incredible amount of creature combinations, and there's a fun boss battle, but it's super low stakes because Yoshi can't get hurt. Of course, how do you have a boss battle with a boss that cannot hurt you? But yeah, we see a boss battle, which is a little confusing. I don't know how this is going to work or what's going to happen with this, because we actually see a point in the gameplay that shows Yoshi saving Kamek and Bowser Jr. from a bubble. I guess that's the definition of Bowser Jr. and Kamek, though. They're never grateful. So I'd like to assume that there's probably going to be Bowser in here somewhere for some reason. But yeah, there's this boss battle where Bowser Jr. and Kamek are flying this UFO, and I'm trying to understand what's the difficult part here. If you can't take damage, then what's the point? Why is Bowser Jr. even firing anything at you? Your job is to use this, crazy hog that spins his head around like a drill in order to drill the bottom of the UFO. So it's more like a timing game rather than any type of difficulty. And that's the only thing that's the little for me, is just it's going to make the boss battles just kind of a breeze and not even worth it, in my opinion. Like, I honestly can't even tell what's happening half the time during this boss battle. It just looks like you're just running rampant all over the stage and just slamming yourself into the UFO until eventually it dies. So I don't know, maybe they get better later on and more of a puzzle-like thing later on. I think that would be cool. Utilizing different enemies and stuff in the stage to do some cool puzzles to defeat a boss could be fun. A boss doesn't necessarily need to be difficult to be fun. We've seen that many times before. So if they can find just fun, unique ways to take out bosses, I feel like this could be fine. Finishing up with Gamespot, they state that the game inside the book looks absolutely beautiful because on the outside is just like a 3D rendered Yoshi game that looks like a Mario game, stuff that we've seen before, nothing special. But the inside of the book, it just looks beautiful with this colored pencil, hand-drawn art style. The frame rate also skips certain frames to make it, this pixelated kind of feel. It just looks really, really good. And like I said, from stuff that I've seen, I'm very impressed by how this game looks. But yeah, this game is focused on younger players, but still is going to be a fun time, and GameSpot liked it. So out of all the previews that I've seen so far, I don't think really any of them disliked the game. And normally that's how it goes with previews. I don't see too many previews where people are just completely negative over a game. We're gonna have to wait for the game to actually launch next month and see what people are thinking when the actual reviews come out. But so far, so good for a 2D Yoshi game. I'm excited to check this game out and see what else it has to offer, but let me know in the comments down below how you feel about the game and from what I've shown so far. Do you like it? Do you not like it? Do you care? Or do you still not really care if you didn't before? Let me know down below. Make sure you leave a like and subscribe before you head out, and I hope you all have a blessed day. See you guys.